Alrighty then, everyone. It is Dokkan time again, and today we got the physical Monkey Boys, the physical Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Gogeta 7th Anniversary LR EZA. That's a mouthful, I apologize. So we're just going to try and really hop into this and really get it done because it's super late again for me, and I'm hoping I can get this all uploaded and edited and done with immediately. But these guys are amazing. I love these guys. Return to Monkey has officially happened, and I am looking forward to it. These do have special anniversary equips, by the way. You can get these in the 7th Anniversary Part 1 missions. I don't think they're in Part 2 missions. I think the Part 2 missions are like the Kaioken, Goku, and Vegeta. But I believe it is from the 7th Anniversary missions, of course, that you will get their special anniversary equips. I would, of course, highly suggest that you equip those specifically to these units, as it gives them an absurd amount of extra defense, which is very valuable. And these guys are so good on their in their equipment that you shouldn't have to worry too much about the equipment. But let's just kind of get started into the main point of the video and go over the units breakdown. As far as 200% leader options go, you do have a couple. You have like Family Kamehameha. You have Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku, you have the Tech Gods, of course, and then you do actually have the AGL Vegeta Goku exchange unit that fuses into Gogeta. The new LR Gogeta, if you will, is a very fantastic leader option for these guys. Their leader skill, unfortunately, did not change very much. Their leader skill is now just Fuse Fighters and GT Heroes. 170, and anyone that's on the Kamehameha category is on the 200% with an extra key +1. So they just turned them into key +4 200% leaders. But they do greatly raise attack and defense on both their 18 and 12 key now. Their passive is pretty lengthy, and by that I mean not really. But so the entrance animation will give them 77% damage reduction and launch an additional super attack for that first turn. And then for 7 turns, they will have key +2 attack and defense 100% with guard for 7 turns. So that means after 7 turns, you will lose guard, so just keep that in mind. And then, of course, they do have an additional attack and defense of 200%. They receive an additional key +2 per type key sphere, which what this means is that they get 4 key for every single physical key sphere. And for every key sphere obtained, they also get an additional attack and defense of 10% up to 77%. So after 8 key spheres have been collected, you will hit the max on that. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, they get an additional chance to crit by 10%. So more than likely, you can get 2 to 3 on average, 4 if you're lucky, 5 in an absurd case scenario if you have an orb changer. And then when you are hitting 17 or 20 key, at both points you will get an additional super attack for free, but also at 20 key you will have attacks effective against all types. So, you can activate the fusion after the 4th turn from the start of battle specifically, so you do not have to wait based on entry. That is good. So let's go take a look at how the magnificent Gogeta has changed. If the website doesn't freeze up on me. Apologies. Okay, so Gogeta, I gotta look at it. This is still one of the best card arts ever. I still wish I got the figure for it, but I don't have the figure for him. So his 12 key is now massively raising attack and greatly raising defense, and his 18 key is massively raising attack and defense for 4 turns. So the key thing here to remember is that 4 turns just implies that you could float him reliably. No matter what, that stack will not, stack extra. He still only is going to have that 1 massively raised attack and defense from the previous turn. But he also disables enemies' action once within the turn. His basic effects are as follows. Damage reduction rate is 77% for 1 turn. So if you do keep track of when you will get the or when you're going up against, let's say, Int Jiren, and you're going to get hit with a critical attack, this would be a good time to prop this, because 77% damage reduction with guard basically guarantees you're surviving the super attack. He also has attack and defense 300%. He is getting an additional key +2 per key sphere obtained. And then attacks are effective against all types. He has guard, 50% chance of performing a crit. Y'all know what I say about critical. If you have 50% built in, you don't need it put into the hidden potential. He launches an additional super attack. He foresees enemy super attack for 4 turns from the entry's turn. So we do have Scouter here. This is really nice to have. And then randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres. So he's a rainbow orb changer. Freaking fantastic, of course, for himself and other LRs. And for every key sphere obtained, gets an additional attack and defense of 10% up to 100. So if you collect 10 key spheres, this will hit the max. Let's see here. Ooh, he's got double the passive that his beforehand. So for every rainbow key sphere obtained, you will get an additional chance of critting and damage reduction rate of 10%. So what this does means is that if you collect 2 rainbow key spheres along, if you collect 2 rainbow key spheres, you'll have a 70% chance to crit along with 20% damage reduction. This does also mean that if on his first turn that he pops up and you collect 3 rainbow key spheres, you can't kill him. He's got 100% damage reduction, bro. You cannot kill Gogeta on turn 1. It is not possible. It is literally impossible to kill Gogeta on turn 1 outside of gimmicky gimmicks. So when activating the active skill or when attacking with 24 key, attack plus 50%. When receiving an attack, damage reduction rate of 50% within the turn. When HP is 50% or less. So basically what this means is when you receive an attack, you will get damage reduction rate of 50% if your HP is 50% or less at that point of time within the turn. So let's say that you took a normal, or you get double supered even. If you get supered one time and you fall below 50% HP, that means if you get supered again, the 50% damage reduction will proc because you fell below the 50%. This isn't a normal thing to happen. It's only when the text specifically says within the turn. And it does only happen once. This is a one-time dealio, so be wary of that. When receiving a super attack, great chance of nullifying and countering with tremendous power. This is just a 70% chance to counter basically any super. And then one time only, he will get to automatically nullify and counter when facing an enemy, one enemy specifically that HP is 50% or less. So if the enemy's HP themselves is 50% or less and they super attack Gogeta, he will guaranteed one time in the fight counter that. That is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It is so hard to kill Gogeta. I'm honestly, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Is it possible to kill? Yeah, it is. It is possible to get you killed, but it's like a 1% chance. He does have an active skill, of course, which causes ultimate damage, and within that turn, all attacks will become critical. His links are Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Saiyan Roar, Shocking Speed, GT, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. He is on quite a few decent categories, and of course, he will be primarily linking up with, let's say you run double 7th anniversary Super Saiyan 4s. You can link him up with himself if you don't choose to transform him. I do think this is the perfect time to obviously be rocking the Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku. This would be a fantastically amazing rotation of a turn. I look forward to this so much. And I do think with these guys, you do have a chance to potentially revive this unit, potentially. Double rocking the Super Saiyan 3 Goku gives him an extra 10% damage reduction, so... Sorry about the long stare. I'm looking at my baby's monitor, and I thought he was making a weird noise. Anyways, so we also do have like this Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that could potentially be getting a EZA sometime this year. It is about time for him to EZA, so that is something to keep in mind. I do feel like GT is back on the rise, and we will be seeing a lot more support for these guys. So. The next thing that I do want to go ahead and throw at you guys is some defense numbers. So let's get that pulled up. All right, so we are on the Twitter website with Halvard's defense calculations for the Monkey Boys, the 7th anniversary Super Saiyan 4s. This is something to note, these are specifically done with last year's anniversary defense equips. They are not counting the new ones that you do get this year. So with intro, after you stack and retain 8 key spheres with 6 super attack effects, you will be able to get up to almost a 1.7 million start of turn defense. Keep in mind, 6 super attack effects is a turn and a half worth of super attacks being stacked. You can only get, I believe, a triple or quad super on the first turn, and then on their next appearance of turn 3 could you get up to 6 super attack effects. So this is the only potential way you'll get 6 super attack effects. More than likely, for most people, this is just 2 turns worth of stacking if you actually land all of your, if you actually get to super attack 3 times each. But this is still very good, 1.7. This means that once you go into turn 5, you can just keep going. You can just keep going above this, which is absolutely absurd getting into start of turn defense numbers. I do think that this unit can go in slot 1, turn 1, just because of 77% damage reduction in guard, or actually 77% damage reduction turn 1 of the game. But until you actually get them stacked up to about this level, actually even higher, like unless you get up to like 9 stacks, I don't think you should be throwing them into slot 1. It's just because we have too many high damaging bosses now. And you do need to highly consider going into Gogeta right on turn 5, or basically the 3rd appearance of this unit. But either way, this is an absurdly high level of defense you can get to. Remember, they are greatly stacking, so it is very nice. And I don't think that he's actually taking into consideration of like like the actual support that the Super Saiyan 3 LR Goku gives. Because this is calculated with a 40% buff, and I'm pretty sure Goku gives more than that. And on a 220 team, this could be even higher. So, and then once you get into the Gogeta transformation, when you get 10 key spheres with 6 super attacks in base, then you'll be at exactly the 1.7 million defense marker. So think of it this way. The amount of defense you're going to have start a turn is going to be the same that you would in base. So if you like the way your start a turn defense looks on the 7th anniversary Super Saiyan 4s, then go ahead and transform, because that's what he's going to have. But do keep in mind that you will not be stacking any longer, and you will be rocking with what you got. So with that in mind, once you go into Gogeta, you do massively raise your attack and defense for 1 turn. At that point, your starter turn defense will be at 2.2 million. And with, guard and potentially maybe 30% damage reduction on average, I mean, he's tanking pretty dang well. I mean, he's pretty good. And the fact that you can just keep stacking is just crazy about this. He's got good defense, man. He's got good defense. This is good. These are good numbers. These are good numbers. So, but anyways, with all of that, with all of the defense done, let's just kind of go hop in. Let's just go hop into the build suggestions. Build suggestions, and then the roll tips, and then I will just point out where the anniversary orbs are. So, 55%. So 55%, I really got to say, is you just got to equip the anniversary equips. You get a level 9, which is a 900 defense orb, bronze orb, and then you get the level 6 dodge, which also gives you a level 6 equipment orb here. Let's just pull that up real quick. So the silver equipment is going to be giving you a level 6 dodge and a level 6 defense orb, and that level 6 defense orb is going to be giving you a defense of plus 1200, plus the level 9 giving you 900. You're basically getting an absurd amount of extra defense, and it just goes a really long way. So there's no reason to diverge from this whatsoever, especially at a 55% build. I think you need to be very wary of that. But I will say, once you go into the dupes, where you'll finally get the you'll actually get this right here, this additional with this attack orb here. It definitely does help. You know, the level 6 additional definitely helps out a lot with stacking. I think it needs to be said that this is the last year's orb. This is the orb that Halvard did consider in his calculations, which I kind of wish he didn't, because you can no longer acquire this orb. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but as far as I can tell, I cannot see a way for newer players to acquire this orb because they removed the previous event, and I don't believe that this is available in the missions of the game for completing the stages. So, but yeah, this is no longer obtainable anymore, unfortunately. But I do think that this is a very decent replacement, although I think a lot of people would probably have preferred the defense orb. This is the reason that I am putting it in the build. If you do have the old equip, go ahead and use the old equip. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very minuscule difference, 600 defense. It's not a huge amount, but it's not a low amount either, you know? So by all means, use the defense one if you want to, but this is the one that newer players can acquire if they did not, by chance, finish that 7th anniversary mission to get those orbs prior to the 10th anniversary. I just felt like I really had to say that. Okay, so with this build, we're going for a full additional build here, level 17, and then you put 9 into the dodge route. This is the minimum spec, so this is without considering the equipment. This is just what your bare minimum hidden potential will show up before you equip anything. So level 17 additional and then level 9 dodge. You're probably thinking, Joe, why wouldn't you just give them full 20 additional? Well, because the dodge could come in handy. It's really hard to kill this unit. They already have a bunch of additionals built in already as it is. With the level 6 equipment orb here, you know, that's propping your additional all the way up to the level 23 marker, which is a 46% chance to additional. If you did, say, change this to a 6 and pop this up to 20, then that just means you go up to a 40% chance. Am I mathing correctly? Am I mathing correctly? So, so you will have a little bit higher of a chance, but that is why I did decide to go ahead and make another one where you are considering to go ahead and pull him all the way up to a 20 additional. I feel like Gogeta specifically benefits more from additional than the Tech Gods. If you watch the Tech Gods video, please to make your comments on that. I do stand by my comments on the Tech Gods. But I do feel like Gogeta needs additional more. The dodge is just kind of there. I mean, he's already got a dodge in his equipment here, so you're getting that extra defense. And I think this is just the best way to go overall for him. If you really don't care to have that extra defense orb, if you really don't care to have that dodge, I would not blame you whatsoever to just pump more freaking additional into him. I really wouldn't. I would not be, I wouldn't even be mad about it. I think it's valid. I think you can technically make Gogeta hit like a freaking freight train if you focus more up on additional and even attack orbs. But it's not something I'm willing to suggest because the meta has gotten very, very hard. It is going to skyrocket, and we're going to need some really good defensive units. So I think the defense orbs are valid right now, at least at the time of writing. Perhaps I'll change my mind later down the road, but as of right now, as the meta curve is hitting from the 10th anniversary, this is how I'm feeling with him. So let's go ahead and move on to his role tips. So as far as the role tips go, you know, his leader options are pretty decent. You can definitely throw him onto the Tech Gods team. You can actually throw him on his own team, really. I didn't put that up here, but you can definitely you can run a double 7th anniversary monkey unit. There's nothing wrong with that. The Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku being a 220 grade ape leader. You can run him on AGL Gogeta's team, of course. 220, by the way. They are 220 on Gogeta's team. They are not 220 on Tech Vegeta's team, so be aware of that. You will only be running these guys 170 if you run them on Tech Vegeta's team. Some other offshoot leaders being the Kamehameha Gohan or the Majin Buu Saga Angel Super Saiyan 3 Goku are very solid options. As far as partners go, you of course have he himself, that he can be his best partner. You have the Int Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You have the AGL Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku, which is honestly the best partner for him. And even Gotenks is actually kind of a good partner for him, in all honesty. Nice little slot 1 unit, even a floater. Honestly, Gotenks is just nice to have. And surprisingly enough, even though he's not on his leader skill, the Super Saiyan 2 physical LR Gohan does share 5 out of 7 links with these guys. It's actually pretty impressive that he shares that many links with them. Of course, that does mean that you are missing out on the GT and Saiyan Roar links, which is the primary links with these guys, so just keep that in mind. As far as his best slot position goes, yes, you can go in slot 1, turn 1, but until you get these guys fully built up, like up to 1.7 million defense or higher, I would not suggest putting them in slot 1. In base, these guys do not have guard. Just remember that. The only thing they have is literally, okay, well, they do have guard. So yeah, once you get them built up a little bit with guard, they can definitely go back into slot 1. But they do need to build up quite a bit to be, you know, safe to be throwing into slot 1 moving forward. Otherwise, I do suggest them into slot 2 for the primary duration. But, you know, once you do transform into Gogeta, that is when I would say that you can definitely throw the Gogeta into slot 1. Just do it. Just throw him into slot 1. Just so he can counter all the supers and tank everything and then blow the enemy away. I look forward to really wrecking everything with this guy. He's gonna be so much fun, man. It's gonna be so much fun. But anyways, that's basically it for the role tips. And once again, as a kind reminder, if you want to get the anniversary equips for this guy, you got to go into the 10th anniversary battle stage, go to the 7th anniversary stage and do the part 1 missions. I'm pretty sure the part 2 missions is for Kaioken Goku and Grade 8 Vegeta, but I threw it on there just in case they updated it differently. But yeah, make sure you do the missions for the 7th anniversary battle stage, and that's where you can get those equips. So I think that's going to be it for the video, everyone. So just as another quick reminder, just because I didn't add every single possible best link partner with them doesn't mean there isn't other link partners or other units you can be linking with him. Obviously, there's plenty of units you can be having a link partner with this unit. I just tried to focus up on the ones that would be primarily activating the most links and would just be a good overall partner for both of the units, not just him or for the whole team, you know. I tried to just focus up on that. And yeah. Anyways, let me know how you're going to go ahead and build this Gogeta. What team are you going to use them on? And thank you for watching. Have a good day and a good night.